Hello. I decided to use Dash to build a hypermedia narrative to give an introduction to the subject of linguistic documentation. I've been passionate about historical linguistics for many years and decided to present on this topic. So I've prepared a hypermedia corpus that has been organized visually within this freeform canvas and categorized using different colored nested collections. So today I'll be especially focusing on the features and aspects of Dash that were used to create this presentation. And on the right side, you can see that I have opened a pre-created trail, which I will minimize. And using the arrow keys, I can simply navigate the trail from slide to slide. So the first slide is highlights this GIF, which acts as a freeform canvas that has embedded text nodes. And using the pin content feature, we are able to highlight and reveal each topic that we are going to present later in this presentation. So in this case, your personal guide to language documentation, we're going to be going through what is language documentation, how we can do it, a little case study, and then finally, what's the point of it, why even do it? So our second slide is what is language documentation? And here we have an embedded PDF page with two annotations. And by clicking on one of these annotations, so here it says, go back to read later, it highlights exactly where that annotation was made on the page. Here we have a video giving a little introduction on the significance of language documentation.
Most of the several thousand languages in the world are in danger of disappearing.
And here we have Ask GPT-3 for the TLDR if you didn't want to watch the 39-second video. So what is language documentation? All you do is click on the context menu and then ask GPT-3. And then within the same text box, the language model will write the generated content, which acts no differently than any other text written by the user. And let's continue to follow the trail. So this next slide is what is linguistics? And this is more of an introduction to the subfields of linguistics. And here's specifically we have an image. And we can actually take advantage of the image image embeddings and pin the content view of the image to the trails to zoom into the image and focus on the topic for today. So the topic for today is actually phonetics, and we have image embeddings within the image. And here we just have a vowel chart, and a consonant table to demonstrate this idea. And similarly, we can zoom out. Our next topic is sound change. So sound changes systematically is this next section. We have a vertically oriented nested freeform collection that demonstrates examples of systematic sound change in Germanic languages. So this first example is Grimm's Law. And underneath this heading, we have audio nodes that can be played and stopped to show the shifts in consonant sounds. That's
Ba, a ba,
Fa, a fa.
And on the right side, we have a map in aerial view to show where these sound changes occurred in Central and Northern Europe. This map node has fully functioning panning and zooming. And to minimize clutter, let's remove labels. So we simply see the geographic map. Our next section is the dialect continuum. So here we have an image with the text annotations within the image to demonstrate different dialects of Western Germanic. And on the right side, we have another Wikipedia article, which I have demoed before. If we continue on, we have a data visualization that shows the variation in pronunciation of 3 cognate words of Germanic origin between High and Low Germanic dialects, and also Dutch using the International Phonetic Alphabet. And using the highlight feature of DataViz, by clicking on any row, we are able to isolate that data in this view down here if we want to focus on a single language's sound inventory. So here we can actually do that with any of these rows. On the right side, we have a map to contextualize these languages and their distances from one another. So similarly, let's turn off the labels again, and we can see exactly where these are. Panning around, we see that there are 3 push pins in this view. There are also 3 note annotations in the sidebar. Each annotation is linked to a specific push pin on the map. Upon clicking any one of the push pins, the map will pan to and highlight the appropriate pin. To make another data point, we can search a new location to center our map on that location. So let's say Flanders. And we can click this push pin icon to place a pin at that new center. Similarly, we can also click and drag the push pin icon to place it anywhere we would like. Now, we can select the pin, and the pin will turn green. And in this anchor menu, we have several options: to center the pin, to delete the pin, and to create a note annotation. By clicking on it, we have created a note annotation, and you'll notice that the title of the push pin, or of the annotation, shares the name of that location. So let's call this Flemish. By deselecting a pin, we are able to see all of the note annotations. However, by selecting any pin, it will filter the sidebar such that only annotations associated with that location will appear, and naturally deselecting will display all the annotations. Our next section is spectrography and tools. So a horizontally oriented canvas that gives a little introduction to the methods used for sound documentation. Here we have a Wikipedia article embedded into the canvas. Here we have an image that has been annotated to show the formant frequencies on a spectrogram. And then here we have a GIF that has been annotated to connect the concept of formants to a visual representation of the vocal tract, which filters the sounds being made. And here, just to give a little bit of context, we zoom out once again to see the freeform view before we dive into the next topic, which is a case study of 2 closely related languages, Taiyo and Taipao. Here on the left side, again, we have 2 very short introductions, Wikipedia introductions of the languages. And if we continue on this trail, we can zoom in and out of this image of Southwestern Thai languages. And for a more specific village language tour, we can use maps. Again, with freeform exploration, we can click on a specific pin and we can center on it. We can also zoom into it. And we can even change the view to get an even more in-depth look at where this language is spoken. And then again, deselecting it, we can see both languages. Given this introduction, let's tell a little story about how me, Eric, in high school, came to document the language of Taipao. So the story begins in Paris, where we're following a trail of content view pins of this map. And our next view is the French National Center for Scientific Research. And here we find, if we continue on this trail through Street View, we find this building right here. And in that office right there, we have a man named Dr. Michel Ferlu. this person was very interested in the southwestern Thai languages. More specifically, he conducted various field studies on this, and we can continue on this map to look at exactly where those field studies were. And lo and behold, here in the same exact district as before, he was the one to document on audio recording the sound and words and of the languages of Tayo and Taipan. If we continue, we are brought to Swarthmore College 10 years later. And here, we can also change the view to get an even more angled, in-depth view of this place. And here we meet Dr. Ricker Dockham. And he was also very passionate about Southwestern Thai languages, and he actually eventually became my mentor on a language documentation project here at Glastonbury High School. And we can even go to there if we want to and change the context of that as well. And it is here where he and I work together to document the consonant, vowel, and historical tone categories of Taipan. Let's continue on. So our next step of the story was the analysis. So here we can actually have a little bit of fun because we can see the exact data that was being collected. Here is a data viz node that has a CSV spreadsheet of a large number of words that we documented. And just for fun, we can even view it in the pie chart. So by selecting these any two columns, and then I selected all of the rows. If we click on pie chart, we can see all of the words that were documented. And although practically may not be very useful, it does demonstrate the sheer amount of words that were needed so that we were sure of the sound system in this language. Continuing on, here we have a video of spectrogram analysis in action, and I've already demoed this feature. If we continue on, we have the conclusion. This last slide has a PDF of the paper that I wrote after the study, and I've created specific annotations on the PDF that on click bring you to the appropriate topic of the presentation. So here we have a methods section where if we click on it, it brings us to the methods collection that I have already created here on our freeform view. And if we continue on, we will be brought to this PNG poster where, again, you can zoom in and out however you would like if you want to learn even more about the sound system of Taipan. Excuse the noise, I'm sorry. And finally, our last slide in the trail is our Y section, which has been made larger in the canvas to convey its significance. Here we have a Wikipedia page on language death. We have a UNESCO statistic on the dramatic fall in linguistic diversity. And we have an image of a community in Yunnan, China who speak a language that is slowly going extinct due to the rise in globalization. Thank you very much for listening.